Welcome. This is an orientation for people considering membership to be part of the Creative Empowerment Collective. I'm Joy Ellsworth, one of the first members of the collective, and I'm really glad you're here. If you are the right person for this collective, you will feel so many yeses with every presentation slide I'm about to present to you. And because we organize things so differently than most studios, I'm going to really explain the why behind everything we do pretty thoroughly. But eventually we'll get into the nitty-gritty details of how to list your first session at the studio. I promise we'll get there. So those of you who are experienced facilitators, just hang in there. We will get to the how of all of this soon enough. This presentation shows you the gears that run the Creative Empowerment Collective, a studio organized for practitioners by practitioners. Everything you're about to see is something that a handful of arts and wellness practitioners who are seasoned instructors have all carefully built together. The collective continues to grow by the efforts of the people who step into it, and we will be showing you exactly how you can consider yourself invited. The collective is the perfect container for practitioners who have felt that their services needed exposure to a specific audience that wasn't being served at other venues. We are here together to explore new possibilities in service to people who haven't had a chance to experience what we have to offer, for whatever reason that is. The existing wellness business scene is a funny place. If you've ever been faced with the urge for deeper cultural connection in session, or if you've noticed specific groups not getting everything out of wellness offerings like you know they could, you probably had this little nudge in the back of your head that was thinking another kind of practice could be more meaningful. And you probably know exactly what that practice would be, but maybe you've needed a supported headspace just to be able to let the answer out. Well, this collective exists to support that little hint inside of you. We've all felt it. We are honoring the influence of our experiences and the inspiring parts of creation all around us and the people who have gone before that led us to be here. The Creative Empowerment Collective is set up to give structure to that instinct so that your work can actually reach people in a way that feels shared and sustainable for all. We are creating experiences where people can reconnect with themselves, reconnect with each other, and where they can feel like they are involved with something deeply real. At its core, we are creating conditions where people can experience a few really important things. People can tap into safe realness through breath, movement, creative expression, and through either their own culture or through someone else's shared culture, especially when that culture is presented by a person who grew up in the culture that's being embodied. Cultural exposure has this way of calling up creativity and feelings of unity in our many differences. And that is why it is so important to recognize that culture needs to be at the table. You are bringing your unique culture to these experiences, and there are specific people in our metro that need to connect with your expression of culture. So by culture, I mean your unique approach to the world that you gained from those who brought you up. I mean your special way of dressing. I mean your singing, your structuring the ceremony of your sessions, your music, the foods that you provide in community gatherings, the stories you tell, the room setup that you prefer, and the list goes on and on. It is all so important. When we combine meaningful pieces of all of that together with guided, quiet presence and awareness and whole self-activation, then our guests can experience profound healing. We expect that your unique approach with your unique right fit participants will have a near magic effect for them. In this world that sorts people into two-dimensional lists and buttoned up functions and stereotypes, your sessions will seem like a step into a world of better possibilities. That's where the most important connections can develop. And I'm talking about real, trustworthy connections with other people and with the world around us. Rather than our guests having goals like high performance for self-gain or self-optimization, when we help people achieve a wellness that feels like home within them, they tend to open up to this undeniable connection to the world. They open up to their many self-chosen roles within the world that will just feel so right to them. And everything we do here supports self-connection, healing, and a meaningful connection within our larger shared existence within the whole wide world. What you lead in our studio space and in any outdoor gatherings that you choose to host within the collective, that could take on many forms because we each hold the building blocks given to us from so many people who, when we were younger, cared about our ability to eventually pass healthy practices and knowledge onto others. We expect that some of you will offer sessions rooted in movement, where the body becomes the way that participants explore internal truths and situational awareness. They will have connected experiences through that and some safe self-expression. We expect that some of your sessions may be reflective, where stillness, attention, and discernment of meaning will take the lead. Some of your offerings will be improvisatory, like improvising, where storytelling, singing, mimicry, choreography, or other forms of artistry will become the language of what is being shared. Some of your offerings might be centered on the act of gathering itself, where simply being together in a thoughtful way, maybe with a theme of food and dress or whatever, the gathering is the whole point of the experience. We expect that your sessions will benefit from the best parts of your own upbringing, your lived experience, your certifications, your education, and your cultural background. That all is brought forward in your own unique way. There is room here for a wide range of approaches, as long as what you bring will support people in reconnecting with themselves, experiencing reverent presence, and building meaningful connections between themselves and the rest of the world. So let's talk about how this actually functions in real life. Before you can reserve space as a collective member, you will need to fill out the Google form that will tell us all about your preferences and capture your agreement about how to use the studio. It will also confirm that you know your part in keeping this collective going. And that Google form is essentially the whole member agreement. We'll have a QR code at the end of this presentation. And there's a link in the description of this video to a page where you'll just click the button that says become a member and then fill out the form and get it back to us. Once we have your information from that form, within about a day, you will get an email from me that gives you important links and access to all of our tools that we share. From that point, you will be welcome to start signing out and using the studio space as you start developing your ideas for public offerings. Your exploratory studio time that you'll sign out is, of course, shared with every other member. So it's first come, first served signups for the time slots. Please reserve one exploratory session at a time, and then in that reservation, put your name and phone number in the calendar appointment details, please. And of course, as a member, you'll be able to see all of the details on the entire calendar weeks ahead of time. So if you need a time, like a specific time that somebody has already signed out for whatever reason, that you need that time, you can use the member roster and contact that person who signed out the studio, and you can work something out together. When you're ready, you will be putting together your first public offerings, your sessions. And you're going to be sending to your friends texts, or if you have an email list, you'll send them out an email and you'll send posts out on your socials. And you can use the tools and templates that are ready to eliminate any of your writer's block or any design freezes you experience. We have templates that are ready to help. So not only are you going to activate your own underground networks through text and email and word of mouth, we also, all of us, help fellow members by sharing like your posts when we see that you've put the link in our Slack network, and in a lot of other ways. If our members successfully list and host their offerings, our space will be able to sustain itself. Our minimum goal to cover our costs would be 24 total sessions a week that are open to the public and people are paying tickets for. We need multiple paying attendees coming to each session, and we feel that 24 sessions per week is a pretty low bar. The max that people would could be able to cram into our schedule would be 49 sessions, and that would be a max of 49 people per session. That would push fire code. And we run from 7 in the morning to 9 at night. That's the available times. But maxing out our space's capacity is really not our goal. Our goal here is meaningful connection between people and between the people and their outside world. The way that studio offering policy is set up, you get paid something, even if just one ticket buying participant shows up to one of your sessions. Look up what other people offering similar sessions in the city or across the nation would cost people, and then make a sliding scale based on that as like your middle or your top tier. Have a tiered system, and then make what you think is affordable for your friends the lowest tier of ticket pricing. Please charge something. Tell the top tier folks that by paying that top tier that they are helping you to be able to afford to offer sessions to a few people who can only afford the lowest tier. That really works to get people paying something, which is all we ask. And even before you're done figuring out the details of your session listing, you can create a buzz that you're getting ready to do this before your event is ever live. If you have been getting people to check out the Creative Empowerment Collective's Eventbrite page all along, then they will be comfortable with the layout once you're telling them to go there to find your event. The main way that we members promote each other's sessions is using our Slack network online, where we post links to the social posts that we've made about our own sessions. That way, everyone can easily tap a link and share the social posts to their own feeds. That kind of give and take reciprocal thinking is the ultimate algorithm hack, because word of mouth attracts these perfect connections who are excited about joining our unique kinds of sessions. Part of being a member is showing up for each other, supporting each other, and helping to build momentum about what we do together. I would say when you're visiting other people's sessions, don't push it past 8 free classes a month, but really it can be a huge benefit both ways if another member visits your session, if you think about it, because they will do the best job promoting your sessions. They understand what it's like to need promotions, and they can get the best shot. Sometimes if we're not showing the real world photos and video of our sessions or about what we're accomplishing in the studio, the public just doesn't get it, especially when we have like a new kind of idea. So please use the heck out of your fellow members who show up for your sessions. They can hold the camera for you a few times, and that shows that your online, it shows your online audience some real authentic activity. Just make sure that you get verbal permission from the public guests beforehand, permission that you can use their likeness. And please don't show up to someone's like studio time that they've reserved alone, because they need privacy to figure out what they want to do. You shape what this collective becomes from the beginning, when you reserve studio time to explore potential offerings, to when you're attending and promoting somebody else's sessions while learning from them, to when you put your heart into your own event listing, to when You welcome people into your own session, to when finally you hear from someone that your gift of knowing helped them live fully in hope for their future. As you're starting this process, don't let perfect be the enemy of done. We all learn by doing, and each session that you get to actually put out there and offer is a learning experience in action for you. The people who show up to our new sessions, they just want connection. It's okay. We expect experimentation to happen. But this is the part that matters the most. You bring life to this collective. Just a couple guidelines here around respect and consent that you'd need to remember. We do need you to hold space so that people feel respected and have choice in how they participate. That just means that you'll be saying, I invite you to do this, I invite you to do that more often. Or like you'll say, you may, or you can. You might hear yourself putting the word let's at the beginning of more sentences. Let's do this, let's do that. And midway through your sessions, like if a random person needs to step out, there is a nice lounge just to step down the hall from the studio. Just let them step out. That's okay. Please let people bring their cell phones into the studio and stash them in a cubby that's in the studio. Of course, you can ask them to put their phones on silent, and you can recommend that they not have their phones on them. You can recommend they not go to check their phone during your session. That's completely okay. But these days, phones are such a vital accessory connecting people to family, resources, and all sorts of important things. And sometimes they just need to know that it's okay. Like it's not gone. So please be understanding. The only thing that actually does need to be kept outside of the studio is people's shoes. And they can put them in the trays that are lining the hallway. That's the wall in the hallway just outside the studio. And also, I should mention that food, illegal drugs, smoke of any kind, or alcohol, none of that is allowed in this space. And that kind of kills me because I like to smudge at the beginning of sessions, but it's not a good idea indoors and it's against our lease. So, oh well. Our recommendation is that you arrive 15 minutes before your session. That just allows for you to be in a headspace to fully offer what you've created. And leaving 15 minutes after the session just guarantees you the time to spruce up the studio before you leave. So that means that if you're doing like a 90-minute session starting at 10 a.m., then you would reserve the calendar at least at 9:45 a.m. beforehand, and then last until 11:45 a.m., which is exactly 2 hours of reserved studio time for your 90-minute session. So that goes on the Google Calendar. That's just an example. It's a preview of the way that you would use that Google Calendar reservation system. And again, details of how to do that will come to you via email once your member agreement Google form is all filled out. I just want to take a moment to reground into the values that guided the founders. And we would like to invite you into imagining how these values can guide the way that you structure your sessions. We believe that authentic expression strengthens people, and stronger people make stronger communities. Every person carries something meaningful that the world needs to be expressed by them, not by anybody else. Helping people develop and keep a personal practice can help them build a self-awareness, self-regulation, and great personal power in their connection to something immensely greater than themselves. Health grows where people feel safe and supported. And so we guide people what to expect physically, we guide them to respect each other's space, and we encourage people to physically show or talk about when they feel uncomfortable. So like right now we're working on an online training that will help members to be able to comfortably tell people who have experienced any violation in their space, I am so sorry you feel violated or you felt violated. Uninvited connection is never okay for us to be able to honestly tell people that in the moment. in those moments, we just need to be real, really real about the good, bad, and the ugly that can happen sometimes in studio spaces. Because also we want to be prepared to handle the unthinkable. I mean, not just to worry about being covered legally, which we are. So that's our studio philosophy on safety. And then coming back to the greatest value of all, we believe in universal love, that welcome consideration for others that shows up in compassion, which just hugely expands the horizons of what's possible in our interacting realities. And that is the spirit that we want to stay in as we offer all of our sessions to the public, really. I hope you will feel these values in the studio more than you'll ever hear anybody explain them. And I'm always here for you if anything you experience is off. And I thank you in advance for all the ways that you will bring this way of self-honoring service into our collective. As a member, you are offering your own sessions independently, and you hold responsibility for your participants and for your experience. This collective provides the space, the structure, and the support that makes your work possible, maybe easier, definitely. And we all have shared arrangements, and none of us acts alone. So not if we don't have to, right? First, you should know that we operate in good faith with each other, believing before anything that our collective members want the best for each other and for this shared effort together. Acting in good faith includes how we report payments and donations, how we share promotions, how we care for our mutually used space. That shared responsibility is what allows this to continue. And here's an example. So imagine someone in one of your sessions has showed up without a ticket, but they're just wanting to pay you in cash. Or if that starts happening with most of your participants, it's not a problem. We just ask and expect that you will keep track of how much money came in each day and give back either 20% or $8 for every half hour that you were in the studio, including setup and teardown. So whichever of those amounts is less of a burden on you, that's what we're asking. Okay. So if you're fortunate enough to be able to give a greater amount than the agreed upon studio rent, that's beautiful. Thank you. It is going to be received as a donation to the collective from you, complete with a tax receipt back to you. If one of your guests also wants to donate to the space with a cash donation or a check that they're giving to you for the collective, you can contact me and we will arrange a handoff so that our sponsors bookkeeping staff can account for the gift and that it can be used for some purpose that we all will collectively decide down the road. Basically, we're a bunch of creatives and caring people. And even though we are all aware that anyone can be tempted by money, right? We are keeping this whole thing running in an atmosphere of good faith for each other. Because as creatives and caring people, that hope placed in the human spirit is what keeps our superpowers going strong. We need that to stay intact if this collective is going to run on the beauty of expression that is put together by all of us, like sparkly fairy dust, fuel for the unicorns that we are. So please do your best to protect the good faith and hope that we all share. In that same spirit of good faith about each other's intentions, we've already talked about how we work together by supporting each other's work, by communicating clearly with each other using the Slack network and the member roster as needed. And we've also covered the ways that we are all responsible for making this collective thrive. We are in this thing together. So now we're going to walk through what it actually looks like with screenshots to take a session concept you've put together from being just an idea in your mind to grow into a real public offering in this space. This process becomes very natural once you've done it once or twice, and every step is supported by the shared tools and practices that we've put together. We even have literal dedicated tech support to help you. Okay, so after you fill out the member agreement Google form and get your email with all those important links, the first thing you'll want to do is to decide what kind of experience that you're going to offer here. That includes deciding the main objectives and activities of your session, um, the general flow of what will happen, and how you would work with someone who maybe has never tried to do what you're going to be guiding in that event. Promotion in this collective is a shared practice. So when you support others, that support tends to come back around to you when it's your turn to get your event promoted. So if you plan to attend someone else's session, it is generally understood that you are also going to help promote it before and after you attend, including pictures and video if you can get them. And all of that strengthens visibility for everybody involved. This beginning stage is also where you think about who your session is for. You may already have a sense of the kinds of people who would benefit most from what you offer. Imagine the kind of guidance that a person with those qualities or that background would need to receive from you. So using those details and ideas, like you're gaining from other people's experiments with their first sessions, right? You are going to finally get to the point where you're opening up the session listing template document from the shared Google Drives, event descriptions, and flyers folder. Okay, so you're going to make a copy and move it to the event folder with your name on it, and then use the make a copy window to start, to change your title, and then you'll start using that template to start writing out your description. It helps you with writer's block if it doesn't fit your session idea or what's your concept or whatever. See if something in there can help you, and call me for help. I am experienced in marketing, so let's talk. Okay, so there's a README instruction document that points to all of these resources, and you'll see it. It's a Google Doc located on the top level of our shared Google Drive, and it says README, but also I'm absolutely willing to do a Zoom call where you can share your screen and show me what you need help with. And also you decide your own ticket structure and pricing. Like, we recommend tiered ticketing with a donation option in addition. So that allows people to participate at different levels of access while still valuing the work that's being offered. I am going to take a second to just get into the weeds about some IRS rules. So hang on tight. I'm going to try to make it quick. Since all of this is being done under the 501c3 nonprofit umbrella of like Clement Waters Retreats nonprofit, we are not allowed to call session fees donations. If people pay to come to your session, then that is counted as earnings coming to you. Of course, minus the little bit back to the collective to cover the space and the admin costs, but the administrative costs, but if a guest gives payment for the session, that's your earnings. And if a guest gives a donation, that's a different thing. So that makes, like, say they give a donation, but they don't buy a ticket, and the donation is above the total of what they would give, would have paid for the top tier ticket, then that extra part would be considered a donation that flows to the collective. The part that they give that's above your top tier ticket, that would be a donation. Everything below the top tier ticket would be like your earnings that you deserve to keep minus the studio rent fee, whatever that is, So that being the case, we would send that guest a tax-exempt donation receipt for just that amount that was over the top tier price that you set. So consider like all of those situations as part of your total for the day. And at the end of the year, we will keep track. We are going to send you a 1099 if you made $2,000 or more, not counting studio rental fees. Now, if you made below $2,000, then you won't get a 1099, and you'll be responsible for reporting your earnings accurately on your tax form if you need to, but we are not going to report that as a 1099. Okay, So I'm going to get back into the presentation. Okay. So um, once your ideas for your session and its description and the ticket pricing are all clear, you're going to move into step 2, which involves preparing the flyer, the event cover image, and social post images that will represent your offering to the public. Templates are already available in the shared Google Drive, and they open automatically in Canva. So they just are in this document in links, and those links open automatically in Canva during your design time. I mean, at some point, you're going to need to choose your date and time so that you can put it into your promotional images. So think about when your ideal, this is an example of one of the sessions. One of the uh, cover images that you would put like for Eventbrite. Yeah, by the way, guys, you can change colors, you can change fonts, just keep the Creative Empowerment Collective logo in there, and just change anything else that you feel is fitting to what you're offering. But anyway, you're going to think about when your ideal participants are most likely to attend. And then you're going to, these are all the templates. Then you're going to think of, like check the Google Calendar, and you'll see if there's studio time available at that time or a time near it. And that will lead you into step 3, which is reserving studio time on the Google Calendar. This is as simple as creating a calendar appointment. So if you're planning a session and you need studio access time for development or thought work as you're building your offering, that extra studio like space is there for you to use as consider it available. And because you need to experiment and refine your approach before hosting it publicly. So if you're at the point where you're ready to reserve your session time slot that you're going to be offering to the public, just make sure for those sessions you're charging the public for, that you give yourself enough time for setup and tear down, and then a time in between sessions if you need to transition layouts, like if you're doing a bunch of sessions right next to each other. Use your publicly advertised titles, the event title, actually in the reservation appointment title, and then in the calendar appointment description space down below, state the time that the event actually will be starting and provide your name and your preferred phone number for texting. If you really want to be nice, you can put the description of the event below that. Reserving time, like enough time for yourself, is very important in a shared studio environment. It ensures uninterrupted access to the space as needed, and it helps transitions between sessions to happen smoothly. Once everything is prepared, you move your event into a public-facing format, which is step 4 of this process. So you'll be taking the details that you've developed and you plug them into the Creative Empowerment Collective's login and put like our actual like profile on Eventbrite into one of the events within that profile. You'll get the permission to log in there and do that. This includes your event image you'll need to upload, like because you have downloaded it from Canva by that point. And then you will need to paste in your preview description from the document template and the time and date and your detailed description from that document template. And then you'll need to set up the tiers for your tickets. Eventbrite is just one of the spaces where people can discover your offering. Like you're going to be sharing things on socials and texting links to people and emailing them too. But Eventbrite is one of the only places where people can register and pay online and be shared between all of us. Keeping signups on Eventbrite allows us to manage attendance, track participation across our collective, and also to gain exposure as people find and follow the collective's Eventbrite organizer profile. That's happened for me before on Eventbrite events that I kind of maybe forgot or didn't have time to promote, and people are finding them anyway because they're just Eventbrite users, and it pulls up your event when they log in. Publishing your event on Eventbrite is the first moment where your idea becomes visible to the wider world, but it will need a little more connection to attract signups, especially as you first begin. So step 5 involves promotion. You're going to want to post algorithm-friendly content on your own feeds and profiles. And by that, I mean, like, don't put the link in the description. Put the Eventbrite sign up link in the first comment if you're posting on Instagram or Facebook. But if you, on Instagram and Facebook especially, if you put the link in the actual description of your post, then that algorithm will put your post at the bottom of the stack. So first comments are great for leaks. Definitely ask your friends and family to love and share your posts. And those are the most effective ways often to reach people who already know and trust your work. And then we will help out as members as well. Please use our Slack network so that can happen. All members are a part of this network. And you will just basically make a post in the promotions please channel, okay? And you'll paste links directly in there, into your messages in Slack, to the links, not to the Eventbrite, event, but the actual link to the post that you want people to share, because that'll give you even more algorithm reach. If members are going directly to that link that you posted to the post, like when it says share and you say copy link on Facebook or Instagram or Pinterest or wherever, you will paste those post links to the channel promotions, please. Okay. So do that for each one of the social posts that you put out there. Like if you're using multiple platforms, right within the message on Slack so that the collective members can select those links and go straight there to do even more sharing for you. Okay. So step 6 is where everything comes together for your session. You're going to arrive early, like you reserved on the Google Calendar. You'll prepare the space, you'll settle into your role as the guide. And during your welcome to participants that have shown up, please give a nod to the entire Creative Empowerment Collective for hosting the space. If you want to explain a little about what we do, go right ahead. And then after you conduct your unique way of opening your session, you will give the experience that you've created to the session participants, and then you're going to hold the space with care and responsible presence for them. If appropriate and with consent, you or one of the visiting collective members should capture photos or video. These are going to help you and others share what the experience felt like, and it will invite future participation from other people. At the end of the session, let people know that there are upcoming offerings via the Creative Empowerment Collective on Eventbrite, and then invite them to stay apprised by joining the newsletter list, by writing their name on the clipboard list at the front of the room. If you receive any cash or check payments from anyone during the session, just contact me to sort out the studio usage portion and any donations for the collective. After the session, funds collected through Eventbrite for your session will be distributed to you, typically within 3 days. I will defer to your preferred method of payment that you have entered when you filled out the member agreement Google form. If you enjoyed the session, like teaching it or guiding the experience, take a little moment after your session to make a gratitude post to your participants after everyone's got home. It is a great way to spread goodwill, and it helps future participants to get to know you over time, like to trust your face and then to show up. A few sessions will pass, and then you'll begin to notice what worked, what resonated with you and for your session participants, and then what you want to refine and change for your future sessions. Each experience will feed directly back into your next offering. Every time you move through this whole process, it will become more natural, and your work will become more clear and more refined and more impactful. Because I want to show some people this on paper, here's the financial side and how it works. You receive either 80% of what comes in, or the total amount minus the hourly studio cost. Whichever of those works better for you, that's your studio rent, okay? The 501(c)(3) nonprofit Clement Waters Retreat holds the structure underneath, which includes the lease, the insurance, the tech systems, the support, and the actual payout process to get you paid from Eventbrite. Our goal is that practitioners get paid for their inspirational gifts to the world, and this beautiful studio space will stay available for everyone in this way. So within 24 hours of you filling out the member agreement Google form, you will receive access to our shared set of tools. We use this specific set of set up Google Drive folders to store your bios, your headshots, helpful templates. We use Google Calendar. We have a shared login to Eventbrite that everybody uses. We use Canva to design promotional images, and we use Slack to stay connected and keep track of what can be shared. So check out the README document for easy access to all of this. The links are all there to make this process low cost and easy and beneficial to everyone. And success here is super simple. You create something, we spread the word, people come, you are supported, and you keep blessing the world with your unique way of blessing it. That's it. That's the cycle. Thank you so much for being here. If this resonates with you, we have a place for you. We want to see you exploring and setting your own way of guiding creation, your own way of holding space. Your willingness to establish your own way is going to make this collective so much more complete. I believe that. I'm here for you if you have any questions, and I hope to receive your member agreement in that Google form very soon. Have a wonderful week.